So you as an independent filmmaker, I mean, how did you get to a place? Not a lot of people always say they want to make a movie, but like no one makes them.
Exactly.
So what was your journey like to do this? First of all, what's the documentary, and then what was kind of your journey to actually to do this?
So it's called Women Like Us, and it's about women that are changing the world in the areas of sex trafficking, FGM in Africa. We shot it in Africa.
Oh man.
And empowerment, and Tim helped me get some of the people that are in it, but we had Moby gave us all the music.
That's awesome.
He opens the whole film. He's incredible.
It's big.
Tim's story's in it. He helped me get Diane Hudson, who's the executive producer of Oprah Winfrey.
Love Diane. She's an amazing woman.
We had Sherry Shepard's one of the executive producers. So we had a lot of really incredible people that supported the film.
That's so cool.
It is a feature-length documentary, and we flew to Africa to interview some of the women, and then some of the women here.
Okay.
So the journey was, my mom passed away. She left me some money. I've always wanted to direct a documentary.
Yeah.
So I took the money that my mom left me, and that was the first seed in.
Okay.
Flew to Africa with a small group, and because I was going there anyway to do humanitarian work, so I decided, you know what, why don't I shoot a documentary of some of these women that we're meeting?
Sure.
So I brought a crew. I shoot as well, so I shot part of it, and then I brought a DP with me. And that was a couple of weeks. And then we shot some stuff in LA and different parts of the world. And then it took about 3.5 years to finish it.
Okay.
Wow. It was a beast. We had to raise $150,000, which I was like, that's a lot of money to raise.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
So we did 5 Indiegogo campaigns, 4 fundraisers, and just a lot of pleading and begging friends and family.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? And so we ended up raising all the money. And then it went to festivals.
Okay.
And won some nice awards.
It really did. And I was watching that whole journey and then listening to the journey.
Yeah.
Not easy to win awards at festivals.
No.
And then I was at the premiere that was completely packed out.
Yep.
But then you took it to many different cities, standing room only.
Yes. We did about 100 screenings across the country in theaters. And I have to say, like, it's one thing to have your movie up on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be in the theater while the movie's happening and being able to listen in real time the responses.
Yeah. Sure.
The crying, the laughing, just everything. And then afterwards hearing people go, oh my gosh, that touched my heart. Especially men.
Yeah.
It's called Women Like Us. You're not going to find too many men in a theater.
Yeah, totally.
Women Like Us movie. But the men and how they were impacted and the tears, because they were like, I had no idea this was happening to women.
Yeah.
Across the world. So Gina Davis, who we all know, Gina Davis, she featured me in the cover of a magazine. She was on the cover, but she featured 2 of her filmmakers in the 5 years that she's been doing her film festival, and I was one of them.
That was big.
Yeah, that was
That's
a really
awesome.
big deal for me when they called me and said Gina wants to feature your film. I was like, what? So I was proud of it.
So let's dive in. I guess unpack it a little bit. So Africa, where in Africa? What was you had mentioned that a lot of things were happening to a lot of women. What was happening, and what did you want to explore?
I mean, the biggest thing was the FGM, female genital mutilation, which
sure.
is a cultural thing in Africa and in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And there was a woman, Kim DeWitt, who opened up a home for girls. She had about 26 girls. Some of them she was able to rescue before it happened, and some of them she rescued after, so that they wouldn't be married, to the older men that are buying them for dowries. So that was my biggest thing. And then another woman, Nancy Noel, who opened up a orphanage for 260 kids that she opened up a school for these orphans. And I was able to bring an musical instrument for all the kids, 260 kids.
Amazing.
I brought them little, what are those, recorders?
Yeah.
And so when I taught a music lesson in Africa with the recorders, and for the next 3 or 4 days, you see all these kids with recorders, singing and playing they never had a musical instrument.
Wow. That's wild.
So that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's so cool. I remember learning how to use a recorder in junior high. What's so you were a part of it, number one in promotion, but also in interview. I'd love to know a little bit about that.
Yeah, one of the things that when Sally began to show the vision, I really was so excited for you, number one.
Yeah.
And part of it is to think that when her mother passed, and her mother was my friend as well, that you took a portion of that money to change people's lives.
Yeah.
See, that's one thing that I really love about this project, Women Like Us. It was all about a message of change and shifting people.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt at the premiere, even where people were getting so emotional because some of the stories are horrific,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's a setback to a comeback. So why are you more than glad that you took some of that money from your mother passing to change lives?
I mean, there's a couple different reasons. Emotionally, my mom used to always say, when are you going to direct? When are you going to direct? Because that's all I ever wanted to do since 6 years old, since I watched The Wizard of Oz. And I never did it while she was alive. And so I knew that when she left me that money, that it was going to be to honor her and my commitment to direct, because she always wanted me to. So technically, my mom's an executive producer for my film.
That's
she
so
put the
cool.
money in.
That's awesome.
And by the way, my mom was a social worker for special needs kids.
Okay.
So she was one of those women.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome that, number one, you were able to kind of share in that she saw this talent in you, and then you were able to kind of take that on. Because that was one of my interests. A lot of people inherit money from their parents, but most of them like go on vacation or like
Blow it all in something
useless.
Yeah,
it's true. 9 out of 10 people I know who got money from their parents usually, they do that. So that's so interesting that you took that and decided to make a film out of it.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely wild.
And I the best part was hearing some of the stories after the screening of women coming up to me. One particular woman I took it to a university in Charlotte, and they showed it, and some of the students came to watch it. And this girl, we had a microphone where they can ask me questions. And one girl talked about how she was being trafficked by her husband currently.
Wow.
And she had never, ever said that out loud. So, of course, afterwards, I was like, came up to her and said, what can we do to help you? Because I didn't want this film to just be, I did a film, great.
Yeah, totally.
I wanted to be able to help people in need, and also to like inspire people to go out themselves to impact the world in any kind of way. So there's also a corresponding book called Women Like Us, and all of the women in the movie are featured in the story, including my story, my life stories in this book as well. It's available on Amazon.
So as a woman, what were some of the roadblocks that you faced as a woman?
Yeah.
And then what was the role you played would be what? Director, producer, writer?
Yep. All three.
Okay. So give me a roadblock or two because you're a woman.
Right. I think specifically the money aspect was tough. I am not a businesswoman. You know that as my friend. I'm a total creative. So trying to raise money and asking people for money was very difficult for me. And the reason it took 3.5 years was because I would have to stop like 6 months at a time to try to find people to give me money.
Right.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's easier to give a man money than it is to give a woman.
Sure.
Because men are business people and women are too. But if, even me, I think I would probably give a man money over giving a woman, unfortunately, because there aren't that many women compared to men in the business world.
Yeah.
Which I would love to see change.
Yeah.
Actually, So, but now I can say I'm a director in Hollywood, which is very difficult for women to have that position. But I made that position myself.